Hello, hi, I'm Alicia. I'm an actress and amateur chef enthusiast. This is Movie and a Dinner, where I make a full meal inspired by film that I love. And today's video is about The Godfather. We're talking Francis Ford Coppola, 1972. I mean, it is the iconic Italian crime mob movie. It's also incredibly quotable, and there's so many scenes that have been riffed and ripped off of into other movies and like camera shots and all of these like deeply iconic moments of the movie. The reason I'm doing The Godfather is because very recently I learned that my partner, who I love very much, very deeply, he has never seen The Godfather. And I didn't know that. And as soon as I knew that, I knew we were gonna have to rectify that. So here we are. What better way to watch a 3-hour Italian crime mob movie than by pairing it with a delicious Italian meal? So typically how I do this series is I do a cocktail, an appetizer, main, and dessert. But because this is an Italian inspired menu, we're going to go the Italian route. So we're gonna have an aperitivo, we're going to have a antipasti, a primi, a secondi, and then a dessert. So yes, we're doing 5 courses, which feels very ambitious, but it's actually not. Because I think what I love the most about Italian cooking is that they're very chill. They're very casual, especially in the South. They like to take their time. They like no muss, no fuss cooking. So a lot of the things that I'm gonna be preparing for this meal come together very quickly, and they're very hands-off. The most complicated thing is a dessert, but I'll get into that. It's a very approachable menu, so something you could absolutely do just to do, or better yet, pair it with The Godfather. This is where we're gonna start. I've got my iPad here with all of my notes for making this incredible meal, and I'm gonna make you off a camera fuse. You're gonna sit down, you're gonna have my 5 courses, you're gonna like it. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so we're starting off with an aperitivo, which is typically served before a meal to open the palate. And I think the primary characteristics of an aperitivo, I mean, the most primary is its bitterness, something that's sort of deeply palate cleansing. And then a second component will be some sort of carbonation. So whether it's Prosecco or soda water or something like that, and then a citrus garnish. And so I have 3, I think, examples of what would be customary in an aperitivo in Italy. So we have Campari, and Campari is the primary ingredient in a Negroni, which is also considered an aperitivo if I'm not mistaken. So you can go that route. We have an Aperol, most commonly drank in the US in an Aperol Spritz, which I would argue is an aperitivo, although it's fairly sweet and not as bitter. And then you have a vermouth. So a sweet vermouth is pretty, I wouldn't say it's so much bitter as it is, it has like a nice delicate balance somewhere in between these two. But I actually had some as a finishing nightcap drink at a restaurant recently, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I picked up a bottle of this brand, mostly just because I thought the bottle looked really cool. But I'm going to go the vermouth route, and Ryan is going to go the Aperol route. Campari is the most bitter of the 3, so if you really enjoy your Negronis or you like a very bitter drink, I would definitely err on the Campari side. But because I guess we're just a bunch of wimps, we're gonna go with the sweet vermouth and the Aperol. Got some ice here. I don't know if you've been reading a bunch of stuff about microplastics, but I kind of freaked out about it ages ago, and I bought this very old school style ice former mold. I really like it. It's just kind of a hassle, but it does make these incredibly chunky pieces of ice. I'm gonna fill each glass. Vermouth. I mean, the glassware is kind of up to your preference. I just like stemware. Like I said, you can also add Prosecco and then some soda water. I'm just gonna skip the Prosecco and add some sparkling water. And And last but not least, we're going to garnish with an orange. You can cut it in a wedge and drape it over the side. I personally don't like that because then it forces the person drinking it to have to maneuver it. So I always tuck mine on the side like that. And there you have it. It's the easiest cocktail to assemble and perfect for summer when it's nice and hot and you want something refreshing but something a little bit bitter. It's so flavorful. It's almost like a bitter soda and it's perfect. It's a great way to start off the meal. I'm gonna go pass this off to Ryan and let's get on to the antipasti. Okay, antipasti. It translates into before the meal. And I'm sure I'm gonna upset a lot of Italians when I say this, but to me, antipasti just, it looks like a charcuterie board. So this morning we stopped by the farmer's market and picked up some fruits and other bits and bobs for the meal, just whatever seemed delicious and in season. And then we went to the butcher and found out that the butcher was closed. So we went to Whole Foods and we got some cured meats. Prosciutto, I literally asked someone if they sold gabagool.
There's a salami called, I know it's not the real name, but it's called gabagool. Is it?
Gabagool.
Yeah. No.
Doesn't ring a bell.
All right. I think, I don't know what it's called. Hold on, let me see if I...
Which honestly, when I say the word gabagool, it makes me, it sounds like an insult. Like if someone was like, hey, gabagool, I'd be like, what'd you call me? But apparently it is a type of cured pork meat. It is, hold on in my notes. It's an Italian-American slang term for capicola, and capicola is the southern version of the cured meats, but you can't find that in California, or at least in LA for whatever reason, or at least in the one Whole Foods that I went to today. But they did have copa, which is the same cut of pork shoulder, but it's cured slightly differently. But that's what was available to me, and that is what is going to end up on my antipasti. I believe there are walnuts too that are on tables in the movie, so I'm gonna put some walnuts on there as well as the fruit, the meat, and sort of some dried fruit as well, just to sort of round out the whole thing. And I was able to score a delicious focaccia at the farmer's market as well, so I'm going to put that on the edges of my plate. It's just the two of us, so I'm not gonna go crazy, but I do want it to look beautiful, obviously. I also feel like in The Godfather, a lot of conversations in the movie happen around tables, so happen around food. I mean, the opening scene of the movie takes place at a wedding, and it's just full of abundance and delicious things. So it's definitely a food movie, even though in technical terms there aren't, well actually that's not true. I would argue there are some very legitimate call outs to food throughout the movie, so this is kind of a perfect movie to do a sort of themed pairing with. We also got some gooseberries. Never had a gooseberry until this morning at the farmer's market. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It has a tangy tartness like kumquat or something like that, but it doesn't feel like a citrus. I'm not sure what it is, but it's good. I like a gooseberry. Got some dried cherries. Try and find the smaller ones like that. There we go. Okay. I have the rest of the orange from my aperitivo garnish, so I'm just going to, let me cut that in some pieces. This focaccia. That looks so good. Let's make myself a little bite. I'm going copa. I love dried cherries. Salty, fatty, tart from the cherry, and this focaccia is really good. Easy. It took me literally a minute or two to throw that together. And that'll tide us over until the next course, which won't be for a couple of hours. So it's perfect. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the table. Okay, so far so good. Now we are on to the primi. And for me, it'll be a pasta dish. And if you've seen The Godfather, you are very familiar with this scene.
You start out with a little bit of oil, and you fry some garlic. Then you throw in some tomatoes, some tomato paste, you fry it, you make sure it doesn't stick. You got it to a boil, you shove in all your sausage and your meatballs. Huh? And a little bit of wine. And a little bit of sugar. And that's my trick.
Why don't you cut the crap? I got more important things for you to do.
Clemenza's pasta sauce. I'm gonna make my own version of it. I'm gonna stay true to the spirit of his instruction. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit to make it my own. But again, staying very true to the spirit of it. First thing I'm gonna do is brown some Italian sausage that I got from the farmer's market. It is Sicilian wine. It's Grillo, not Grillo, Grillo. And I've actually never had it before, but if you've ever had Masala cooking wine, it is a fortified Grillo wine. So I'm gonna pour myself a little taste so we can see what it tastes like. In my research online, people were calling it the antithesis to a Pinot Grigio. So funky, strange, a little more full-bodied, but still high acid. Smells good. Nice, easy drinking. I think this bottle was 17 bucks, maybe something like that. I'm gonna add this in there when the time's right, but. I personally don't love a strong garlic flavor, so I peeled one clove and then smushed it. Toss that in there. Some tomato paste before I add the tomatoes. And then really deglaze. Kind of scrub, 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 scrub. Then it cooks off the alcohol. Only really use San Marzano tomatoes. They're very sweet, very delicious. As Clemenza does, a little spoon of sugar. And then I will put that on the back burner to simmer for like an hour. A very fun fact about the brand of bucatini I'm using, this is Rao's bucatini. You can find it in most grocery stores, but Rao's is a restaurant that exists in New York. And fun fact, I had to write it down. It's a historic Italian restaurant in East Harlem, founded in 1896, and is famously tied to the New York City mob history. Getting a table there was essentially impossible for decades. Reservations were passed down through families, and regulars were held by regulars for life, basically. And the restaurant's connections to organized crime are the stuff of legend. So it's very, almost like an inside joke to use Rao's pasta for my Godfather meal. So there's that. I didn't know that. But you can actually see the, you can kind of see it there. That's the restaurant. It's a famously mob-tied restaurant. So I thought that was really fun, but I'm going to serve my sauce with my bucatini noodles, and my primi course is done. See why I like the bucatini? It's so thick. The noodles are really thick and chewy. All right, so try not to make a mess. This is classic red sauce. Classic red sauce. It's a little sweet, seasoned really well. the sausage, delicious. It's perfect, honestly. Wouldn't change a thing. He knew what he was talking about. All right, so the secondi, or the main dish. I'm going to do a...
Try the veal, it's the best in the city.
I'm going to do a whole branzino over an arugula salad, and it's inspired by this.
What the hell is it? It's a Sicilian message. It means to pronunciation of the fishes.
I've never made whole roasted fish before, but I found a recipe online. The internet made it look easy, so, you know, let's give it a go.
I'm talking to a dead fish here. Hey, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I ended up in the bottom of the lake. Ha, that's my house.
All right, I'm done. Salt the inner cavity, and also get some, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? Lemon, make it nice and beautiful. This lemon came from my neighbor's garden. All right, I got some fresh thyme from the farmer's market as well. We're gonna take a few sprigs of that, lay that over. This is Mr. Fish, or should I say Mr. Luca? That sounds a little, yikes, it's so morbid. But I'm gonna put this in the oven for 12 minutes.
War film started next week. But whoever he is, Johnny Fontaine will never get that movie.
What do you want for Christmas?
The fish is really good.
Oh, yeah?
I was nervous that it wouldn't be cooked all the way through because it's only 12 minutes and it's a whole fish. I'm not gonna lie. It's cooked all the way through. It's very good. It's like a perfect cooked, I would say.
Okay.
And I'm trying to clean up as I go along, but the kitchen still feels super messy. But we are on to our final course. We are doing dessert.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
There was never any other option for dessert. It was gonna be a cannoli. So I've never made cannoli before. I'll be upfront about that. But what I love about doing this series is I'm usually learning 1 or 2 new things per themed dinner. Oh my gosh, this thing won't open. But I made cannoli. Look how cute they are. What I really like about cannoli is the workflow. You make the dough, you fry them, and then you can leave them for a day or 2. And then you fill it with ricotta right before you're ready to serve. So it's really straightforward. If you try and assemble everything ahead of time, like a day or 2 in advance, the cannoli shells will get too soggy. So avoid that and leave the filling as a last step. But I made my shells yesterday. So the dough is a masala wine dough, which is the traditional Sicilian way of doing it, but I could not find masala wine when I was looking at my local liquor stores yesterday. So I used sweet vermouth, which the internet told me was an acceptable 1-to-1 replacement. So that's what I did. Anyway, you throw the flour, sugar, salt into a processor. You blend that with some cold butter and pulse it until you get some little crumples. And then you add in an egg and an egg yolk and then some sweet vermouth. And then it should all come together into a shaggy, oh my gosh, my dog just burped at my feet. He's so disgusting. Anyway, I don't even know if you heard that, but I don't even know where I am. Okay, so you get that into a shaggy bowl, and then in my case, it was a little too wet, so I added some flour to get it to be pretty much the consistency of pasta dough. That's what you're after. Kneaded that for a few minutes and then let that rest for an hour. Then I rolled the dough out as thin as I possibly could. I made these very janky little cannoli round molds basically out of foil. You wrap the little round around the cannoli mold, and then you fry that. And you fry it just about a minute each side, kind of turning it, and then drain all the oil out, and then as carefully as you can remove the cannoli from the mold. So that was probably the hardest part. I definitely broke a few of them doing that, but whatever. Then I let them cool completely, and then I either left them plain like this, or I dipped the ends in some milk chocolate. So I have a few with, a few without. So for some variety. The recipe I'm using said to drain the ricotta so that it's not soggy at all. Any excess water drips out the bottom of the sieve. But the paper towel got wet with some moisture, but there's no additional liquid in the bowl. So I don't know how essential this step is. I'm going to add a dollop of vanilla to each one, and then let's say 2 generous spoonfuls of powdered sugar, and then whip it until I get a nice, delicious, whippy, like light textured ricotta filling to fill my cannolis. That's amazing. I can't even remember the last time I had a cannoli, but this is delicious. This is so good. Oh my God. I have so many cannoli too. I'm gonna make some espresso and we're gonna watch the rest of the movie. Thank you so much for joining me on this very long but relaxed journey compared to other movies that we've tackled. Thank you so much for watching. Please go watch The Godfather if you've never seen it. And yeah, until next time, let me know what movie you want to see next. Oh.
It's very slow. It's almost like I've seen other mob stuff, so I feel like it's all taken from this, and I feel like I've seen it all before now. So it's almost like it feels cliche because it's the source material.
It's like when you see Casablanca for the first time and you're like, wait, I've seen this.